Welcome back to Section 4 Fans, the podcast with real fans, real takes. Episode 25 here, and we're heading back across the pond to break down the Premier League, taking a look at where things stand and what to watch moving forward. Then we'll shift back over to baseball with some spring training early reactions, impressions, and teams to keep an eye on as the season gets closer. So without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 25, Carter. We finally made it. The glorious 25th episode we've been kind of waiting for a couple months now. But it is, I think it's been a good run so far. We've been able to kind of cover a lot of sports, and it's kind of a good time of year right now with some of the major American sports kind of in the offseason or in the preseason. So a lot of eyes have been on the football or soccer world.
Big American sports heading towards the end of their season.
Yep.
And then you got also a worldwide sport starting up again this upcoming, not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Yes, World Baseball Classic. That's going to be.
Nope, that's not what I'm talking about.
That's not what you were talking about?
No.
Well, that's starting next week, but okay.
Worldwide sport.
I don't know.
We've talked about it on the pod.
What's starting in a week? I don't know, so tell me.
Formula One.
Oh, Formula One. Yes. I forget about that.
Australia.
I think it has to do with the fact that I haven't seen, anything about.
It's going to be the worst year of Formula One of all time.
Yeah, I've just seen a lot of memes and a lot of the testing, right, in Bahrain. Is that where they've done it?
They started in Barcelona and then in Bahrain.
But I haven't seen any, hype, especially for the upcoming race. But you said that
because there's no hype.
That's the following weekend? First weekend of March?
Yeah.
Or second?
Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Perfect. First weekend of March. That's something to look forward to.
Because Drive to Survive comes out Saturday.
Yes, that's going to be a good one because last season was a banger. That almost comeback by Verstappen. That was something the F1 fans loved. But I'm sure we'll touch on more of that, especially as the race gets closer. Maybe after the race and especially further into the F1 season. I know there's a lot of things we're going to be able to talk about.
We might be recovering that Verstappen steps away from F1 mid-season because of how horrible the cars are.
Who knows? Well, I think the major headline is going to be Hamilton and Kim K. So, another Taylor Swift type of personnel that's going to get all the camera footage while the athletes are doing their thing. But let's get into the soccer world here, the football world, and we had quite a hectic week. I know I want to dive into the Prem, but first I want to touch on just the Champions League, how it went this week. I was only able to watch a couple of the matches, but the ones I did watch I thought were quite good. Obviously, I think the major headline coming out is Bodo Glimt beating Inter.
Yeah.
That was, quite a shock to everyone. And now they're getting comparisons to the 2019 Ajax squad, which, that's a pretty high standard in terms of underdog and going the distance, so to speak.
I think just the big thing is people are bitching about, it's because they're playing on turf/artificial grass. That's why they beat Inter. They went to Milan and beat them.
Tough place to play.
And beat them.
Exactly.
2-1.
And they scored there too, so you can't,
They beat them 2-1 there. They beat them 2-1 there, and they beat them at home. They beat I think they beat Atletico Madrid away at Atletico Madrid.
Yep, they've already beaten
they beat City.
Yep.
At home.
So they've got some pretty big wins, and I've seen that they haven't played since around the end of November since their season ended.
Because their season's starting up here pretty quick. They're in preseason.
Yeah. Yep.
But
So
obviously they've had to like obviously they probably had like December off, and then
yeah,
January
it's
had probably
definitely
their
due to the weather.
preseason.
That's a huge factor, not
Oh
being able to
yeah, no,
play
100%.
because of the weather. But this has been a huge underdog type of storyline. It'll be interesting to see
Well,
who
you
they
have
get matched up with tomorrow, because I believe the drawing
it's
for the
either
next round
Sporting,
is tomorrow.
it's either Sporting or City, and Real Madrid has the other opponent that Bodo doesn't
Yeah.
have.
So personally, I have a feeling it's going to be once again City and Madrid.
That's
That
what
just
Madrid
seems
was
to be
saying.
what's happening, and I think a Sporting Bodo Glimt matchup. I think that would be pretty entertaining. I think both fan bases are very passionate, and you get kind of another historic club in Sporting there as well. So that could be a potential good matchup there. But
I did
continuing, go
watch
ahead.
the Madrid Club Bruges game. Ended up being 4-1 in the second leg. Johnny
Yep.
Cardoso scored.
America.
United States. Is that a what jersey you got on there? Oh,
USA. Let's go a little Timmy Howard action. But yeah. So
no, I
yeah, I
mean
mean that was a good goal. Atletico's looking fabulous.
after the first leg, the first leg was right after that Barcelona game, and they drew 3-3 to Bruges, and then coming back home winning 4-1. It wasn't even like it was just too much for Club Brugge to handle,
Yep.
especially being away at Atletico Madrid. The other two games, nothing much really happened. Leverkusen, Olympiacos, 0-0,
Yeah,
and then
I didn't watch much that day.
Newcastle.
Newcastle killed them. There's nothing to touch on there. I don't even really care
Uh,
about it. There was nothing.
Fabrizio posted in like the 60th minute that
Yeah.
Newcastle qualified for the next
I
round, which
mean
was
it was like
insane.
7-1 on aggregate at that point. So I mean there was nothing to do there. But
And
going
then
into yesterday,
I'll rank
uh,
these games from less
those were some
chaos.
pretty good matches. I was able to watch. I was able to watch three of them, but primarily only two. The one that I watched most of was Atalanta and Dortmund.
That was a
That
great
was
game.
a hell of a game. Um, Obviously, a pretty bad way to see Dortmund go out of the tournament with that last minute pin. But that was a just horrible game from Bin Sabani. I believe that's how you say the center back's name for Dortmund.
Oh, the
He
Algerian.
Yeah, he was. He was in the
He
limelight on all three of those goals.
Yeah, he didn't have a good day.
That was a poor performance from him. Obviously, that was a pretty bad red card late in the game too.
It was a
Last couple
second yellow
minutes.
though.
Yeah,
I didn't think after VAR that they could give a yellow card because it wasn't called a penalty on the field. Then they go to VAR to review for a penalty, and then he gives them a second yellow card after VAR, not a straight red.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, either way, he was off no matter what. It was a pretty close call. I think ultimately, um, the Atalanta player just didn't put himself into a dangerous position, and it ended up the Dortmund player put studs up in a
Yeah,
more dangerous area.
yeah.
I also was watching the VAR replay, and it appeared that he made contact with his head first and then the ball. So I think that also played an additional factor in that decision too. But I saw a picture of the guy post game.
It
Looked
was
like
just
a pretty gnarly
cut up. Yeah.
cut up on the face, but just an absolute brutal way for Dortmund to go out. Not only did they lose that, but they were down 4-1 in that game. So ultimately, they just were flat that whole day.
And
Not sure if
it's
you have anything you want to touch on there.
yeah. Going away, second leg. I feel like the most frustrating thing right now watching Champions League is um the away goals don't mean anything.
Yep, yep.
So
I remember when they did.
That Dortmund goal to make it 3-1, they would have been in such a different position and that penalty probably wouldn't have happened because they would have had a lot more numbers back. They wouldn't have been trying to get a late goal.
100%. It would have been it would have been very much a different game.
And
Um,
even the Juve game would be
yeah, I
so
mean,
much
yeah, we
different.
could go right into the Juve game They were down. I believe it was
It was 5-2
five.
aggregate.
Yeah, 5-2, and they were able to
Uh,
claw their way back.
yeah,
And
scored three.
I mean, they were down 10. Yeah, they were down to 10 majority of the match. Got to be honest, I do feel that red card was very questionable. I watched a couple different angles of the replay, and I feel like Kelly got pushed off balance, and he didn't really have anywhere else to land. Like he wasn't, looking to land on that
It
guy. I
just
think it was
looked
just
really bad.
it was just a very unfortunate type of sequence from him. But Juve was able to stay in the fight, and they were able to claw their way back. Got to extra time, which was huge. But,
And here's the thing that
Galatasaray's offense was just too much that late in the game.
that McKinney goal puts them through to the next round.
Exactly. Yeah, I think having that away goals, I think that was just a huge part. Sounds old, but, back in the day, it just
I mean, it
tactically
was before COVID.
yeah, like tactically how you would approach the end of the game, the last 25 so minutes, depending on the score, I think changes drastically with and without that rule. So I think already we've seen major implications.
Like the game would have been completely different as well. I feel like Galatasaray, if they were down 2-0 in that in the second leg, they'd be trying to go for a goal to secure the win
Yep,
because you
yep.
need the away goal there. Um, PSG Monaco, I didn't watch.
I didn't watch that, so we could just skip that.
I watched the highlights.
Just
Monaco first 15 minutes dominated, and then PSG stepped
took
it into
over.
took
Yeah,
after the red card. It was just stupid. It was so stupid by who got the red for him. Koulibaly. It was
yeah.
he put in just back-to-back stupid challenges, two yellow cards off. It killed the game for him.
Yep. That's
And
what's
then
gonna dig you into a hole.
Real Madrid,
Yeah,
Benfica.
I watched that game. I saw Benfica go up 1-0, and I was like, okay, this is epic. We got a 1-1 right now. Maybe Benfica can pull this off, and then ultimately, I think Madrid just took over. I saw Vinny's goal, and that was just the nail in the coffin right at the end. I mean, they were already up 2-1 at that point, but 80th minute, you go
Yeah,
up two
secured
goals.
it.
Yeah, it certainly the nail in the coffin there. I also did see Asensio got carted carted off. I don't know how you want to word that. He
Yeah, he
was taken
got
off and
stretchered.
stretchered off. So hopefully he's not in too bad of a shape. I know he's a pretty crucial player for him, but Alaba was able to plug in those last 25 so minutes, and he was able to do a decent job. I know he's been quite injured the past year and a half, 2 years. So it's good to see a veteran player like that make his way back into the squad. We've pretty much watched his whole career, I want to say, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, him and Camavinga ran into each other, and I'm reading it right now. They took him off in like a neck brace, it seems
Yep.
like.
Yeah, it didn't look too good at first look, so hopefully he's healthy. But yeah, I mean that was a hectic week for the Champions League.
We find out
Um,
tomorrow.
yeah, we find out tomorrow where the draw is looking like. I'm pretty excited to see what those matchups are going to be. I believe they're back in action on like the 12th, something
Hmm.
like that is the next round. So a week off, I believe, and then we're back. Maybe a bit longer than that, but it should be good. I want to dive into some Prim here.
Let's do it.
This has been an incredible season, I think, so far. Unless you're a Tottenham fan, I hate to do it, but this has been such a lackluster season for them. So maybe we could start off here with Tottenham playing Fulham this weekend. Would a loss against Fulham would that be the end for Tottenham?
No.
What are your thoughts on that?
What's the end? What do you mean the end?
Like could this be the basically the end for Tottenham in a sense that a loss against Fulham, I believe they're 4 points up right now, unless I'm mistaken.
They are 4 points ahead of West Ham.
So if they lose and West Ham can somehow even scrape a point this week, I think that puts Tottenham in a very dangerous position. and with all the injuries that they already have in their squad, and just it's just like it just seems like a lack of presence on the pitch. There's no cohesion within the team. It just seems to just be.
So, what do you mean dead though? Like that they are not like are you saying they're officially in a relegation fight right now? Are you saying that
Oh no,
this loss?
I think for sure they're in a relegation fight right now. But I think this loss against I think if they lose against Fulham and if West Ham could scrape a point, I think that is very threatening to Tottenham because yes, they from a business standpoint, Tottenham has been, quite sound over the past couple years with, all the concerts they bring in, the NFL. So from a business standpoint, they do quite well. But in terms of actually being a successful football club, yes, I'm aware they got a trophy last year, but I think at this point it's not looking on the bright side. It's looking very scary. It's looking like they could lose, hundreds of millions of dollars. I just can't believe Tottenham is in a position. I know they were around 16th last year, but they were also like 12 points clear.
I think it's just how they built their squad. Um, I
So
feel like
so
it's
so do you think without all the injuries they had, do you think they would be in a better position, or do you think they'd still be in a somewhat similar position?
I obviously they'd be in a better position than a relegation battle, but I don't think they'd be fighting for a Champions League spot. I think they would be around
Mid-table.
10th place
Yeah.
right now. I think they'd be struggling. Obviously, all their eggs are in the Champions League right now. And because once they can for sure know that they're staying up, which I think they're they're eight like I'd give them an 85% chance of staying up right now.
Yeah. I think, they're going to need points. Ultimately, West Ham has been looking very good over the past couple weeks. West Ham's been able to climb and get some points.
It,
Somerville's been looking
the
fantastic.
Bournemouth
Bowen's
game
been back
killed
in form.
not being able to finish against Bournemouth killed uh
Their momentum, you think?
yeah, I think they're going to struggle these next two games.
I said it a couple episodes ago. I'll say it again. I think the March 22nd game, Tottenham hosting Nottingham Forest, I think that is the biggest game of the season in terms of
I don't even know who I want to win that
just
game.
everything. I think that is just easily the biggest game of the season at this point in time. I think it's bigger than Arsenal and City. I think this is basically for everything, because if West Ham's able to scrape out a couple more wins, I think it's going to be pretty sad to see those teams go down. I think a lot of people think of them as
West Ham
pretty
has
standard Prem teams. Even with West Ham going down, I think that would be pretty hard to watch. From a Nottingham Forest standpoint, that would be hard to watch, especially with this owner who's wanted to make a name for the club and has pushed millions of dollars into this process, so to speak. I think
Forest
that
still
would
have a
just
chance
kill
to make
everything.
Champions League next year.
That is true. They did win against Fibonacci today, so
But West
I
Ham
mean
have
they could go to
West Ham have Liverpool, City, and Villa in three of their next four Premier League games. And they also
yeah.
have Fulham. And let's say in the next four games, Forest and Tottenham scrape away two wins. It's almost as certain.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a rough patch for West Ham here, but like I said, I think after March 22nd, I think that's when we're going to get a pretty good eye on what's actually going to happen. That's the end of West Ham's difficult run, difficult patch in terms of opponents right there. They play Villa and then it gets a little bit easier.
Well,
And
they've
then
lost to Wolves twice this year.
well, they got to win. I think with even with last week and their lack of finishing, I think if Somerville can keep it going, I think that's going to do a lot for the club. Obviously, I think a lot of people have been wanting him to do well, and it's taken him a bit. But I think the last month and a half, I think he's really, shown promise in terms of production.
I still th I just I don't know how West Ham are going to stay up.
It's
Genuinely,
going to be tough.
I
It's
th
going to be tough.
I wouldn't I wouldn't put Tottenham. I mean, like obviously logistically they're in a relegation fight, but I just don't think they get relegated.
Okay, I like that.
Um,
I got a couple more things, and then I'll go into another one with you here. I saw Brentford extended their manager to a new 6-year deal. Brentford's been pretty good, I think,
yeah.
above expectations of what fans and other people have thought about how that club would do without Thomas Frank. But I just want to get your thoughts on, this whole new 6-year, this extension of a manager. Does that really mean anything in today's game? Um, Thoughts on that?
I think for a club like Brentford, yes, but I think for a club like Manchester United, no.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think I think he could get mid-table the next 3 years
and
and
they'd
be
be happy with that.
yeah.
100%.
I wouldn't say happy, but I'd say satisfied.
Yeah.
Like he's not getting sacked.
Yeah, I think also that like Brentford's not in a place to where if they were to get a European spot, I don't think they have the squad at this point in time to really compete.
Mm-mm.
So I think finishing in that mid table would be quite good for them over the next couple of years, and maybe they can bring guys in and build off of that. But personally, I kind of agree with you there. It depends on the club. I think the positive thing is that the board and the higher ups are showing faith and trust in the manager. I think that's the one positive to take away from that. But we've seen it time and time again. You go through a rough patch and you could get sacked. Obviously, it helps being at Brentford rather than like a Tottenham or a Man U, Man City, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
where you go through a rough patch and you're gone. But I saw that today, and I just thought that was pretty interesting. So I wanted to get your thoughts on kind of where the manager landscape is at this
Yeah,
point in time.
I'd say a bigger club. It's much different. I think
Yeah,
that they just have such little patience, whereas like a Brentford that who were supposed to be fighting relegation this year, everyone predicted, but now they're fighting for a European spot.
yeah,
Um,
very surprising.
yeah, I'd say they'd ride him out for all 4 years. And I think the big thing for Brentford is that they have a culture at their club on who they want in their squad.
They got a good
They
identity.
yeah, they have identity to their club. And I think the biggest thing is just listening to the manager on who he wants in his system and
Yeah, 100%.
not going out there to make a big splash. Just keeping it simple in the transfer window, being patient for the right players to come through and trust your academy system as well.
Yeah, 100% agree there. We could kind of ride with the big club wave here. Um, Chelsea's been kind of an interesting team to watch this season. Obviously, they're in a fifth spot, but my thought on Chelsea right now is they kind of just I don't know.
The sassy,
Yes, they're doing good, but from my perspective, I'm kind of confused on you know on what they're trying to do there. I feel like a lot of the signings have been unnecessary lately, and I feel like it's been a major factor of potentially their lack of success in terms of the spending overshadowing you know either players that could fit into the system or just like development in general. I feel
you know what
that
it's like?
I feel like for example, Liam Delap was a huge signing, but now he can't even make it into their squad. So I feel it's like things like that where it just I don't know if it just hasn't worked out the way they thought or if they're just spending just to spend.
It's like you know what it's like. You have a bolt, right? You have no idea what size wrench you need for it, and you have like 20 different wrench sets, and you're just going through every single one constantly, seeing to see if it fits. I feel like that's what Chelsea's doing right now. They're just throwing random front
Throwing the kitchen
fours,
sink at everything.
random front fours together, random midfield pairings together. They've tried so many different center backs. They've called guys back in from loan. They sent guys back out on loan. Um, Guys that they've sent out on loan look better than guys that they have in their squad. Um, Again, I think the reason why they aren't living up to what we saw in the summer in the Club World Cup is it's a lot more games, and it's just hard to build identity when you have so many different personalities and so many different players expecting top player playing time.
Yeah, definitely makes it tough. Want to get into this little segment I thought of today was I'm just going to ask you some players, and I want you to speak when I name a player that's better than Jared Bowen. I'm looking at strikers here, attackers. I know he plays a little bit of the wing, but I feel like he's kind of been more so a striker this year. So I've got a little list put up,
No,
and
he's been on the wing.
well, hey, I'm into Foot Mob,
No,
and
he's on the wing.
he's not listed in the winger section.
He's played wing all year.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind as I name these players. So we can go with let's go with Nketiah.
Bowen. Or don't speak.
I got you already.
No,
Okay,
but
yeah,
okay, I'm not gonna speak.
Daniel Mallon, Evan Nielsen.
Hold on, Mellon's at Roma, by the way.
He left.
Yeah, he left.
Oh, son of a bitch. We'll scrap that.
Who's the next player?
Evan Nielsen, Brian Broby, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Alex Iwobi, Noah Okafor, Leonardo Trossard, Harvey Barnes, Harry Wilson, João Pedro, Mwebu, Mwebu, Mbomo.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you on that one. Okay. Man, almost had you on Pedro there.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking as a right winger,
Yeah. I
I'd
know
put
it's hard. He's
I
primarily
like
a winger, but he does
on
fluctuate into striker every now and then.
on as a right wing. I mean, it's helped that that West Ham actually have strikers now instead of throwing
Yeah,
Bowen
no,
up top.
that's been a huge
But
help this season.
like I'd take Bowen over João Pedro on the wing, but I wouldn't take Bowen over João Pedro up top.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I
Well, we
I,
can
I could take Mbomo over Bowen on the wing, but not up top.
and up top. You
And
could
up top.
I'd
I
take
meant
him anywhere.
and up top.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of fits.
I'd say it's close though.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah,
I'd
okay.
take Bowen over Somerville though.
I mean, he's on your team, but okay.
No, I'm saying if
That's
you
fair though. That's fair. I mean, Bowen's a bit more proven, so it makes sense. But we can swing things over. We got MLB spring training is among us.
the
It's
last season before the lockout.
yeah, will be interesting to see. When more than likely when there's a lockout.
It's after
It'll
the
be
season.
interesting to see what happens in terms of negotiations there. But spring training's among us, and we've got some big name guys in some different places. Some guys have been off to a pretty good start, and other guys have been a little lackluster
Max
at this
Clark.
point in time. So I know you probably haven't been able to follow every transaction. So I was able to kind of go through and
Oh
and
no.
even see who's made jumps in terms of teams. Um, I'm just gonna go kind of yeah. I'm gonna try and get a player from each team that was a big name signing, but a lot of the teams, I got to be honest, didn't really make that big of signings.
Yeah,
Um,
like the Rockies brought in Willie Castro, I saw.
yeah, and the Yankees, they didn't really bring in anyone; they just
He
re-signed a
signed,
lot of guys.
yeah.
So it's some stuff like that. But I got Dylan Cease,
Cardinals. Wait, no,
the blue
I saw this. The Blue Jays.
yeah the Blue Jays on a 7-year deal. That was huge.
That just happened, no?
That happened like pretty early on in the transfer or in the off season.
Oh.
So that was a good signing. They also picked up Tyler Rogers and Max Scherzer. So
That's
they
what
got
I
some
saw. I
good,
saw Scherzer
yeah, they got
re-signed.
some good depth pitching wise. Then we got Pete Alonso.
Oh, I saw this. AL or NL?
Ale.
East? Red Sox?
Orioles got
What
him on a
the?
5-year deal. They also picked up Chris Bassett, so they got a pretty good pitcher there as well.
So
Yep, we can
random.
we could skip the Rays. I got to be honest, they didn't bring in anyone. Wilson Contreras.
Red Sox.
Yep. Wilson
Yeah, I
Contreras,
see the
Red
trend
Sox.
here.
Yeah, yeah. They also brought in Ranger Suarez and Sonny Gray, so they definitely got
Sonny
some pitching
Gray's
help
good.
there. They did lose a lot as well. Like I mentioned, the Yankees didn't really bring in anyone. Basically, the big signing was Cody Bellinger, re-signed on a 5-year
hmm
deal.
Wonder if Boone
Can
gets fired this year.
I think they need a good playoff push. I think they need to. Aaron Judge is great in the regular season. I think he needs to show out more a bit in the postseason
hmm
to at least keep things rocking up in New York. Guardians, they didn't really make any big moves, so we could keep it moving.
They kept J-Ram.
Yeah, I guess that's the big
It's
piece
always
there.
big for him.
Royals, once again, another team that didn't really make a lot of movement. I think
Haven't lost Bobby Witt yet. That's a big one.
yeah, they've kept him. We can move on to I think some pretty big spenders. Framber Valdez.
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit 3-year deal. That was huge. They also got
Is
Justin Verlander on a 1-year
Screwball
deal as well.
still there?
Scooble's there for I think one more year, I believe, because of arbitration. I think
Yeah.
he is there for at least one more.
Waiting for the lockout.
Yep. We got we could skip the Twins. Only things that
Yeah.
stood out was Josh Bell and Taylor Rogers, so not that exciting. Um, we got Munitaka Murakami
He went to the
from Japan,
Astros.
the White Sox.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, he did.
That's the guy that couldn't really hit that well. His contact percentage was low, but that was due to Japan's high percentage of splitters being
Yeah,
thrown. Very
he
difficult.
couldn't hit a breaking ball for his life.
Yep, and now he's been hitting some pretty solid shots for the White Sox in spring training. I think keep it going here. We got Alek Manoah, big boy.
He went to the Angels. I remember that. I remember you were bitching about that.
Yeah, just a lot of old guys they brought in there. They also brought in Grayson Rodriguez from the Orioles. So, they're beefing up pitching. Maybe it works out. Probably it doesn't. We could keep it moving here. Another big move was Mariners re-signed Josh Naylor on a 5-year deal. That's pretty big
Yeah,
for
it's
them.
huge.
Great piece to keep.
They didn't make any really signings, did they?
No, not really. They did a lot of dealing out, so to speak, and other guys walking. But in terms of
I
bringing
just
guys in,
saw
they didn't really.
someone signed Hoskins.
Yeah. I believe it was the Guardians on a minor league deal. That's why I didn't mention it.
Oh, yeah, minor league contract.
Yeah. We could keep it moving here. We got, I think if you're a pretty big baseball fan, I think you know the name Mike Yastrzemski.
This is gonna be the Astros.
The Atlanta Braves, 2-year deal.
Holy shit, you switched it up on me. We're already in the NL.
They brought in Jonah Heim as well, catcher on the Rangers. And a whole lot of pitching. So I think the Braves are hoping to reshape and make another postseason run after a couple down years. We got Marcus Simeon.
He left where was he? The Rangers?
Yeah,
It wouldn't be the Marlins. Or is it? Marlins.
it is the New York Mets.
That was gonna be my logical guess, but your reaction based on
Yeah, the Mets were some big guys this offseason once again. Big spenders. They brought in Bo Bichette on a 3-year deal. They also traded with the Brewers to bring in Freddie Peralta. They also traded with the White Sox to bring in Luis Robert. And they also signed Devin Williams from the other New York team on a 3-year deal. And that was in addition to Marcus Simeon. So they've made quite a few changes. Obviously, Bo Bichette has been a shortstop, but now he's being utilized at third base. Obviously, that infield's looking pretty good in my
yeah, Bo
opinion.
Bichette went to the Mets.
Yeah, Bo Bichette's playing third. Obviously, you got Lindor at short, Marcus Simeon at second. So it's looking like a pretty good squad in terms of infield depth. It's just, the Mets will be Mets year in and year out, big spenders, but just can't get it done. And they still got Soto as well. So maybe it'll be different this year, but who really knows? Adolis Garcia.
Dang, Rangers lost everyone.
Rangers did lose a lot of guys.
Who's the Rangers second baseman switch hitter? Um,
I believe that was Marcus Simeon,
no.
Corey Seager.
Thank you. Is he still there?
Yeah, yeah,
Phillies.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
1-year
the
deal.
big.
The Phillies didn't really make any, huge moves. Obviously, the two biggest were re-signing Real Muto and Schwarber, and Schwarber's already off to a pretty hot start in spring training. So that's pretty good things to come. Seeing your big stars show out and show up big in spring training. Hopefully they can get some younger guys going as well and get some different people and some youth in that clubhouse. I know majority of the Phillies squad is getting quite old, so I think they could use a little bit of life to help out that lineup.
All right, who's the next guy that I'm gonna get wrong?
For all the MLB The Show fans, if you remember the card, you had to do a moment for it. We got Akil Badu.
Um, Pirates.
The Brewers. The Brewers didn't really make any big signings. I
Well,
just
yeah,
I
I
just
mean
knew the name.
the Brewers
Um,
just re-signed everyone.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean they lost Freddie Peralta. They lost a couple other guys. They did re-sign Woodruff, and they also brought in some infield help in Luis Rengifo, and they also brought in Gary Sanchez. But obviously, he's not the Gary Sanchez
Oh my God, he's
five
still
plus years ago.
playing? Is
Yeah,
he on a minor league deal?
no 1-year deal straight up. So it'll be interesting to see how he does there. We got ooh Dustin May.
So we're in the Central. I'm gonna go with the Reds.
Cardinals. Dustin May goes to the Cardinals on a 1-year
Ah,
deal. Cardinals they traded a lot and didn't really bring in a lot.
Yeah, Cardinals
Well,
are in a dumpster fire.
yeah,
Arenado, La,
they've lost Contreras, they've lost Gray, so and obviously Arenado. So that's not been very appealing for any Cardinals fans. But we can keep it moving here. We have Alex Bregman.
that's the Cubs.
Yep. That was their big signing was Alex Bregman, and I think another
Who
piece
did
that
the
was for
Astros sign?
they literally didn't sign anyone.
So that's why Correa was bitching
Yeah, they didn't do
because they
anything.
didn't make any moves.
Yep.
Okay, that makes so much
Their
more
their
sense.
their best move was I'm gonna butcher this name, but we'll try it anyway. Tatsuya Amai. He was
Yeah, I
a
swear they
Japanese
signed a
pitcher.
Japanese guy.
Yeah, that was their only move. But I mean, they lost Framber Valdez, who was huge for the rotation.
Mhm.
So it's not a good look in Houston. I don't think they'll
Where did
be
he
able to
go?
come. Who?
Valdez.
Detroit.
Yeah, that's the one that you
When
said.
they didn't want to pay the Cy Young Award winner his contract, but then as they're in arbitration, they signed Valdez to like a 3 year,
Well,
$75 million
it's
deal.
because they can probably get him cheaper with the lockout because they're gonna put in a salary cap, or they're
Yeah,
just hoping he has a down year next year and they get him
the
at a
market goes a bit
discount.
away. Yeah, it'll be
They
interesting to see.
they know they're gonna lose him. They're trying to hang on for one more season to try and get something there, or if they do horrible this year, they can ship him out at the deadline for prospects.
100%. Sticking with the Cubs here, the big deal was Bregman. I think two overlooked pieces that were forgot about was they traded with the Marlins for Edward Cabrera, and they also re-signed Shota Amanga. So
Talk
that
about
is
the show.
that is huge. That's huge keeping Shota in your rotation. And then you also bring in Edward Cabrera, who's hopefully if he
MLB
does
the
well,
show
that's going to be a
beast.
a pretty exciting rotation there for the Cub fans. Marcelo Zuna.
Oh, are we in the West now? No way he went to Cincinnati. There's no way.
The
Giants.
Pirates.
No way he went to the Pirates.
Marcelo Zuna went to the Pirates. They didn't really make any big deals. They
I mean,
got
that's a pretty
Gregory.
big
They
deal
got
for the
they got Gregory
Pirates.
Soto. Um,
That's I
so
he's
that's a good
not
relief pitcher there.
as good anymore, but
He was good a couple years ago in the show,
yeah,
especially.
yeah,
They also were in a trade and got Brandon Lowe, however you say his name, second
low.
baseman from the Rays. And they also got a 2 year deal of Ryan O'Hearn, who plays a little first base and outfield action. So, whatever. The
Is
Pirates are the
McCutcheon
Pirates.
is McCutcheon still in the league?
Free agent. He's still a free agent, and so is Tommy Pham.
Twins
I,
might
b-
as
I
well.
believe they haven't been signed yet.
Twins should
So,
throw a league minimum at them.
yeah. We
Just
got
throw something there.
next one here Eugenio Suarez.
I saw went somewhere, but where was he at before?
Seattle.
Definitely stay on the West Coast. Giants.
No, this guy loves moving teams. He goes back to the Cincinnati Reds.
Son of a. Is Cincinnati gonna have a team this year? I think they will.
I think they're definitely going to be a little dark
I think they'll
horse,
be
but
a wild card team that goes deep into the playoffs.
it'll be interesting. They got a lot of relief help, but who knows if that's going to help.
You just need De La
They
Cruz.
were in a good spot last year. They just really couldn't get over the hump. So
Who's that
maybe they,
starter that they have? Green?
yeah, I believe he's still there. Green, yeah. We got the next one here. Carlos Santana.
Which one? I feel like there's five of them.
Played for the Cleveland.
The Guardians, yeah, that's what I thought.
He's bounced around a little bit. Not the same player he was, but trying to shake it up without obvious guys.
Padres.
The D-backs, the Diamondbacks, they brought in
I want a cold spell here.
him on a 1-year deal. They also brought in a ton of relief pitching help and starting pitching.
Which is what
Hopefully,
they need.
hopefully gets that
Is
rotation
Gallon
going.
there
They
still?
re-signed Zach Gallen on a
I'm
1-year
I'm
deal.
impressed with that.
They also signed Merrill Kelly on a 2-year deal. I believe he was somewhere else, and now he's back with the Diamondbacks. They also brought in Michael Soroka. So that is a blast from the past. I think
They
that guy was
they beefed up
supposed
their
to be a
lineup a little bit.
yeah, I mean they need
Um,
to. You got to if you want to compete in the NL West, because not only do you have the Dodgers, but you also have the Padres, who have been pretty steady as that wild card spot there, battling
and
it
the
out.
Giants are trying to throw money everywhere as well, trying to be competitive as well. And the Diamondbacks are the only other team besides the Dodgers that have gone to the World Series recently out of that division.
Yeah, which was a very weird year for the World Series,
Yeah.
but yeah, I doubt they'll come back. I think the Dodgers own baseball for the time
I
being.
think Diamondbacks will be interesting this year. I think they'll be over 500.
I'm not gonna go with that. Corbin Carroll's out for like a long time.
That I think they're pitching beefing
Oh,
up their
their pitching will help.
beefing up their bullpen is I think will be huge.
Should be. We got Edwin Diaz, the Trumpets,
He looks like a guy that would play for the Giants.
the Dodgers.
That's so stupid.
So not only do you have to go 9 innings facing or 8 innings facing Yamamoto, but
What about
then you get to go up to bat and you just hear trumpets.
but he's always hurt. What about the I thought that rookie that was closing out pretty much every game for the Dodgers in the playoffs I thought he was really good as a closer.
Oh yeah, he stepped up. I mean, he wasn't even prepared to be in that.
I thought he's better as a closer than a starter.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
could
he's
have
going to be a relief
I
role
I haven't
or
followed the Dodgers much, but I could imagine he'll be in kind of that middle relief role. Able to be kind of a bridge gap reliever or someone that can stick in there the long term. I'm not too sure, but obviously he needs a spot in that bullpen after what he did in the postseason. He was huge for them.
it's just so unnecessary that
Well,
signing.
when you got money and no one else does, you can't hate the player, hate the game.
Does it say his
Um,
contract?
I can pull it up here.
He look Diaz looks like he should be playing for the
3 years,
Giants. I'm
69
sorry.
mil.
That's so stupid. That's probably
He
more
he
than
opted out of his 2 years with the Mets.
oh, he had that little thing in his
Yeah,
contract. Oh, that's hilarious.
so he's on a 3-year deal, so that's huge. And they obviously
I
brought in
don't
Kyle Tucker,
why do teams
which
do that? Throw in 2-year options.
because it makes the player happy, makes them sign and be like, okay, if I don't
Baseball
like,
baseball is the worst contract negotiations I think I've ever seen in place of the sport
well, yeah,
out of
well,
all
especially when
sports.
you got winner or owners coming out saying they don't care about winning, that's real nice as well too. Thanks, Artie Moreno.
Was he the
Yeah,
Angels?
the Angels owner. Yeah, he said, "Oh, the fans don't care about winning." Yeah,
Imagine, imagine,
that's the state of the organization that has arguably the best player in MLB history as Mike Trout.
imagine
Uh,
being a
yeah,
uh, imagine being an Arsenal fan and your owner comes out saying, "Yeah, we don't really care about winning. We're just here to play."
yeah,
Imagine just
not a good sign
or
from a
like
team that
you
hasn't
go
made the
to
postseason since 2014.
or like a team in it like in Italy where fans are like nuts and an owner comes out and says that their house is getting burned down.
Yeah,
I,
he said
the,
it was something with like a fan survey saying that they surveyed the fans and winning was the fans' fifth on the priority list.
how hard is it?
They cared about like cheaper tickets,
Yeah.
safe
Well, it's
environment,
because they
stuff
know
like
they
that.
suck.
Yeah,
It's because
it's hard to watch. Definitely not the the team they once were with the big dogs. Even when
Well,
they weren't big dogs, they still got it done with the likes of Troy Glass and Darren Erstad, Tim Salmon.
baseball is now a sport where it's not about the game, it's about the atmosphere as a
Yeah,
fan.
and I mean, hell, they had Shohei Ohtani too, and they still couldn't win there. So that just says that much more about the
But
ownership.
so how hard is it to get to the Angels Stadium?
Quite easy,
Is it?
very
Okay.
easy. To go to the Angels Stadium and to leave is miles easier than
Dodger
Dodger
Stadium.
Stadium. Dodger
Yeah,
Stadium, you're sitting
every
in an hour plus just to get out of the parking lot. Angel Stadium, much easier. Even when it was packed with Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, a packed game, you could still get out under
man,
30 minutes, if that. You're out of the parking lot.
in 10 years you're gonna hear the conversation, what if Mike Trout left the Angels? How many
Dude,
rings would he have?
it it's so sad to see a player like that just not have. I mean, he had the support at one point, you could say with Shohei Ohtani, but also at the same time from a dealing standpoint, they've made some horrible deals that just didn't pan out. Anthony Rendon didn't pan out. They overpay on old ass
Is that
Justin Upton.
website? Hold on, I gotta see if this website's still
No,
up.
well they bought him out. He's off the team, Rendon, so it could be, but yeah,
They,
I mean they
oh
made
my
horrible
gosh, here it
deals.
is. Oh my gosh, they have more players on here now.
Yeah,
There's a whole,
Justin Upton was absolutely horrible, old as hell, and overpaid.
they have Mike Trout.
Albert Pujols was fantastic
Oh
for
my
attendance,
gosh.
but
Mike
Albert
Trout has
Pujols could not
been
help.
on the injury list for 464 games out of 1,032 possible games.
Yeah,
Wow, I've been
and
on
to
this
think about that,
website.
all of that has been within the past 4 or 5 seasons. He's been that injured.
I've been on this website for 30 seconds and he's already made over 30 bucks.
Yeah, well, who, Mike Trout?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Oh
that's
my
fine.
gosh, Chris Bryant's on the Rockies?
Yes, he's still there
He's still, I thought
somehow.
he left.
No, why would you leave when you got that much money coming at you? You know what I mean? Barely
To actually
plays,
win something?
sucks when he does. What do you mean? He already won a World Series.
Okay.
Where is there else to? He arguably won the greatest World Series in MLB history. There's nothing that could top it.
Okay, Rendon, it's not even that bad on the injury list. It's 478 games out of 870 games, over 50%, 70.5% games missed. That's not
Yeah. So
terrible.
so so besides Rendon, they also brought in Justin Upton, who was way past his prime. Albert Pujols, basically past his prime. Still was able to hit dingers, but couldn't unhook the beer truck to get to first to save his life. Um, it's just been bad deals after bad deals, trying to bring in attendance with these big signings, and then their lack of pitching has just gotten them annihilated. So maybe bringing in old ass Alek Manoah is going to get it done for the Angels, but
It's
um,
costed the Angels 11.1 million per Rendon home run.
yeah, not worth it. Not worth it
Uh,
whatsoever.
dude, Chris Bryant's contract is actually horrible. He's actually like Rendon's dollars per WAR, $66.22 million dollars. Chris
Yeah,
Bryant might be the most underperforming player in MLB history based off his contract. I'm looking at all these
everyone's
stats.
forgotten about him. I think if you ask a majority of fans that aren't Rockies fans, I would say that many people have thought he is retired.
Like he's like the worst in every stat for how much money he's making. Dollars per
100%.
hit, lower is the better, more efficient. 1.2. Rendon has a better dollars per hit than Chris Bryant, and Rendon probably hasn't played an MLB game in like 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, you read it. He's been
Chris Bryant has a worse or has it's costed the Rockies more money to pay Chris Bryant for games played. Like he hasn't played as many games.
yeah,
He
yeah.
he's
It's
he's worse than Rendon.
yeah, and that we could kind of continue and end on this point
Hold on, what's even
that
better is that three of the five players on this website were Angels players or still are. Trevor Story, Wasn't he Angels player?
I don't believe so.
Was he not?
I don't
Who
think
am I
so.
thinking of?
Not him.
Oh, Story was for the Rockies.
Are you thinking
Who
Taylor Ward? He was
outfielder?
outfielder, yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
no. I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, even growing up, the pitching rotation for the Angels wasn't great, but you still had guys that could get it done.
Weaver.
You had Jared Weaver. You had Matt Shoemaker. If you want to drop some ball knowledge there, man, that's a name not many people know. If you want to get real into it, you got Irving Santana.
Ooh,
That's a name drop. I know you know him as a Twins fan.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just I think this is kind of the major problem with baseball is just either owners that don't want to pay, and you could tell they don't prioritize winning, such as Artie Moreno with the Angels, and then you got the Dodgers owners where they're throwing cash at anyone and everyone that breathes. But then you also get the owners that want to make a splash, and you end up with contracts like Chris Bryant and Anthony Rendon. It's just a very hard space. Um,
Needs a revamp, but it's
but the
honestly
thing is,
baseball's been around too long. How do you revamp it?
there's no way to revamp it. The Players Association will never agree to a salary cap, even if it was okay. If you already had a big contract, you get grandfathered in. But any new contracts, you got to be under this cap and whatnot. It's just impossible to figure it out.
Scooble's gonna be pissed.
Oh yeah. Well,
He
that's
he
why
should
that's
have
why
been the
he's
highest
only
paid
that's why he's only
pitcher.
pitching one. He's only pitching one game for Team USA in the WBC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and that's also the thing with Paul Skeens is like you really think Skeens is gonna really go 2 games like that? That's pushing it.
you think the Pirates are
He
gonna let that happen?
no, but I think he may just say like "f you," like I'm pitching if it gets to a point
He
where
he was at Air Force, so I could see
yeah,
him
so I
having
think
more
he would be that
passion
guy that would
for.
have that. But also I think, I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to pitch, in the tougher games. Hopefully they get out of the pool play easy. WBC is going to be quite interesting.
I can't believe
Um,
Jazz Chisholm is playing for Great Britain. That blows my
yeah,
mind.
if you want to talk about blowing your mind, Nolan Arenado, former two-time WBC with the
Israel.
United States, is on Puerto Rico.
Oh, what?
No, I don't think Israel has a team this year.
Yeah, they do. Swear they do.
Man,
Are they not in the?
I don't know. I know Puerto Rico's group is quite hard. They have Canada and Cuba. And Puerto Rico doesn't have Lindor. They don't
Yeah,
have
Israel World Baseball Classic.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, they have a team.
I didn't think they would. I don't think they got any big guys in the league.
Max Lazar is the only one with Harrison Cohen are like the only few guys with CJ Stubbs, Cole Carrig, Harrison Bader is is playing for Israel.
What an absolute name drop.
Oh, that's hilarious. He's on the Giants? What? Or is that just his photo? Look up where Harrison Bader is playing at. Is he?
He's
Oh,
probably he's probably on the Giants or something like that.
yeah, he is. Indeed, he is. Hang on. Yeah, Israel had a magical ride going into the World Baseball Classic. It's just a bunch of American Jewish players, they said. Team Israel had a magical ride going 3-0 with wins against South Korea, Chinese Taipei, and the Netherlands to advance. A win against Cuba to open up the next round of glimmer hope of a run to the finals, but the Magic ran out against the Netherlands and Japan, blah blah blah. Oh, that was last year? Oh no. All I know is that Israel's with the DR, Netherlands, Venezuela, and Nicaragua.
Yep. So obviously it's going to be the DR
Nicaragua.
it's going to be the DR and probably Venezuela coming out of that group. Group B is looking pretty easy days for the US with, basically Mexico. They got Italy, Great Britain, and Brazil. I don't think there's much competition in those other
Yeah,
games. I
I
think
think
Mexico is going to be the game to watch. I am hoping we move on and can get matched up against Canada so we could beat their ass again. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
kill them in every sport. I think that's going to be quite good. I do think Canada is going to be that other team coming out of Pool A with Puerto Rico, Cuba, Panama, and Colombia. I think Canada's got at least a little better squad than what they did the previous WBC, so that's going to be fun to watch out for. And obviously, coming out of Pool C, I think everyone's expecting Japan and probably South Korea to make it out of that group there. But yeah, that's coming up around the corner. Spring training's in session. We got a lot of money being spent, poorly, and that's baseball as usual. I am getting a little excited for this year.
Who did the Giants sign besides Bader? I've been saying the Giants all day. Who have they signed? And
The
and the
Giants,
Padres.
their big acquisitions are Luis Arias.
That's he was already
So
there. No, he was at the Padres. So he
yeah,
went
he
from
got a 1 year
Padres to
deal.
the
So
Giants. Huh.
yeah, hard
A
market
good
for a guy
signing.
that doesn't hit homers, and his
Arias
defense is
and
not very good. People don't want that anymore.
but like you have Arias get on base and then Devers right behind him.
Yeah, another decision there. And the Padres,
You Darvish.
their big deal was coming out of Japan, Sungmin Song. I believe that's Japan. Hold on, I want to correct this if it's not.
He's gonna be Korean.
He's probably Korean looking at the name now. So I'm going to go Korea, but it's not my fault because I literally his profile on MLB is empty.
What's
There's
his
nothing.
name? Sung
Sung Mun Song.
Mun Sung.
There's no information.
Danny's
Kiwoom Heroes,
Korean.
South Korea. Okay, there's no picture, there's no information. This is what I'm dealing with.
Oh no.
Nothing. There it didn't even show his country. Didn't show his country, bro. Nothing. I had nothing to work with. As soon as I said the name though, I realized, that's Korean. But that was a 4-year deal there. The Padres didn't really bring in anyone else. They brought in Walker Buehler on a minor league deal. He hasn't been the same since he blew out his arm.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt anything's going to happen there. But, they did lose a bit with Arias and Dylan Cease. But I think they will be able to compete. After looking at the transactions, I do got a little faith in the Angels as much as they are shit and the owner's horrible. The AL West seems a little bit open this year. I think with some of the trades the Rangers have made, I don't think it's going to pan out for them. I don't think the Astros have done enough.
It's just
And,
all path for the Mariners.
Yeah, and I think the Mariners are going to probably make it out that division. But if the Angels can, get it done somehow and scrape a wild card spot, I will be very pleased, as it's been quite some time since they've seen the postseason. But baseball is going to be in action, at least for when it counts, pretty soon. WBC coming up. Prem's looking fantastic. We'll touch on some F1 as that's coming around the corner. And this was a pretty epic episode 25. A lot of things happening in sports. We got a lot of stuff ramping up. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple months, and it's going to be pretty great as we get into summer, I'd imagine, with World Cup around the corner.
It is.
So that was episode 25. See you next time.